Howdy everybody, we're going to wait just a few minutes here before we go live. We'll go live at 2 p.m. Eastern on the dot. And I'm going to be interacting with TheChartGuys members while I'm live, so if any of you all have coin requests after I do my usual rundown, post them in the Slack chat. And I'll look at them. So action has picked up over the past couple days. I just want to start talking. Gotta wait 2 minutes. I'm dripping sweat here, sacrificing, putting clothes on for you all in the middle of, I guess it's not the middle of summer anymore, but it's still in the 80s. And I'm still in a sunroom. Check out what the stock market has done today. QQQ and the tech sector. Weakness in the morning. Is that our top? Nope. V-shaped recovery. Right back to under all-time highs. Resilient bulls. Day number 9 of a higher low every single day. Bears cannot catch a break. S&P 500. 9 days in a row with a higher low every day. All-time highs. I'm surprised we did not see more weakness today with the dollar bouncing, which we will talk about because we certainly saw the ripple effects of the dollar bounce in crypto and in the metals. All right, we got 50 people here. That's good enough for me. So the dollar is bouncing. That being said, anything under 93.47 is just a daily lower high on the dollar. We are watching because the weekly RSI got oversold. We know we can bounce on the weekly time frame at any point. From here, we've got this downtrending support line where the bear breaks are not really getting significant follow through. And if we wanted to zoom in and draw some resistance lines, I would put my resistance right about there. So it's more of a channel than a falling wedge, and we're still stuck within it as long as the daily lower highs remain. So why do we care? Of course we care because there has been a notable inverse correlation where dollar weakness has led to a very bullish environment for the cryptocurrency space and for the metals as well. And on this 2-day bounce, we can look at gold on the daily time frame, and we've been pulling back for 2 days. Gold is a beautiful daily equilibrium, and I will make a bullish entry if it breaks bullish. Otherwise, I'm patiently waiting for this equilibrium to play out. But you can see we topped out yesterday and we pulled back pretty notably today. And obviously the cryptocurrency space doing the same thing. Bitcoin topped out yesterday, pulling back today. And it is directly related to this dollar bounce, in my opinion. And it's also notable, when this dollar bounce started yesterday, I typed and said, Bitcoin bulls are very pleased with how they're holding up during this dollar bounce. Obviously, in hindsight, that's no longer the case, and that shows us that there was a little bit of a lag there where you can react to the dollar before the bots and the algos and everybody else is reacting to the dollar bounce in the cryptocurrency space. So this bounce started at 9 a.m. yesterday, and next thing you know, it's at 3 p.m., and we've seen a very significant bounce straight off of those lows. And the Bitcoin weakness didn't really start to get going significantly until 2 a.m. this morning. So it was almost a 12-hour heads up where we did start to see a little bit of weakness. Again, it wasn't very notable. And here is the pullback we actually were going up for a bit while the dollar was bouncing, and then we rolled over, and then we dropped real hard, real fast. So the dollar gave us a bit of a little clue early, and I assume that as more and more people catch on, that those clues, as far as how much lag time there is, are going to be less and less. So we have the dollar in an hourly uptrend to be watching. And the most important factor is hourly uptrend and 93.47 resistance, which is going to break first. So the Bitcoin drop, weekly bull flag rejected. So it's a weekly bull flag. We're heading up to try and break resistance, and we failed. If we break 11,100 support, the probability that this is a weekly bull flag is going to drop very significantly. The strongest of the altcoins broke bullish, and ETH among them already confirmed their weekly bull flag. BTC, with its dominance chart weak, is not confirming that weekly bull flag. Again, as I've highlighted many times, and I don't want to highlight it every single video, but I am watching this 2-month time frame as the most important time frame for me on Bitcoin, and it's an equilibrium. So the question that we have into the end of 2020, are we setting a lower high compared to 13,800? If the answer is yes, we will likely tighten within this range into mid-2021. And that's going to lead to a lack of volatility, and things will get a bit boring. That being said, for those that have cash, they would love to see a rejection and this equilibrium continue to tighten up. We would then look for, if the pullback gets significant, we would look for a higher low somewhere in the 8,000 range, perhaps, very roughly speaking, and we would look for it to continue tightening for a long time. So what do we need to see to start saying, yeah, we're probably going to reject here and form a lower high compared to 13,800? Step number 1 is breaking 11,100, but really it is, well, I need to confirm a weekly downtrend. So for me here, this is a higher low being set, a failed breakout, but I'm not considering that a confirmed weekly downtrend if we were to break 11,100 from here. What I would want to see is a big enough pullback that we anticipate a very clear weekly lower high and lower low to be the next result. If that happens, a 2-month lower high compared to 13,800 will be set. And again, we have to prepare for a tightening, boring range into 2021. Now, best case for the bulls is hold 11,100, obviously, to keep the weekly bull flag alive. Other than that, if 11,100 breaks, we're going to be watching the weekly 12-period exponential support, which has held the last few periods of consolidation, and that's going to be in the mid-$10,000 range. And, of course, the last base of support established is right around the 8,800s. So all about 11,100 short term. Look at these triple bottom now. So we had it as a support level back here. We hit it again. We broke it by $18, no bear follow through. And then we just held it by $60. And that is the battleground in the short term. As far as the short term, are we going to get any follow through on this bounce? We've got a 15-minute equilibrium over the last few hours. Low, high, higher low. And looks like we actually did just break resistance by about $10. So that means, okay, 15-minute lower highs have broken. I zoom out to the hourly chart, and the hourly RSI is cooling off, so that means bulls need to be a bit cautious. And we're watching hourly 12-period exponential resistance dropping down. This is a potential bear flag at this point. The burden of proof is on the bulls to prove to us that this is not a bear flag. And if you just condense it down to the 2-hour time frame, you can see this bounce, compared to the size of the drop, is very weak. So that's something we are watching for, and 4-hour RSI will very quickly be oversold if 11,100 support does break. But because that's a triple bottom on the daily time frame, we can assume that there's more stop losses based around 11,100. If it was just one level, then we would assume there's less stop losses. But when it's that clear of a support, more traders use that support, more shorts enter on a break of that support, and we have to be cautious that if 11,100 and 11,000 right behind it break, that we see a quick little flush of those stop losses. So those that are in the bounces need to remain protective if you are looking at this as a short-term trade. So I would need to see these Bitcoin bulls get over the hourly 12-period exponential resistance if I'm going to say that this bear flag on this bounce attempt is being negated. We've been watching for the potential correlation of a Bitcoin dominance chart with a dollar bounce, which means dollar bounce, crypto pullback, Bitcoin dominance bounce at the same time, altcoins are dropping faster. That's the relationship we've been seeing in the crypto space for the last few weeks, and that is what's currently playing out. The dollar bounce is more impressive than the Bitcoin dominance bounce at this point, but it is showing us that on this most recent drop, the altcoins are dropping faster than Bitcoin. We'll see if the bulls are able to change this 4-hour trend for it to be a meaningful bounce, but that's at least what's happened today as far as the spike in volatility and the altcoins dropping fairly hard and fast. So ETH had a little bit of a blow off top, and we had a 4-hour super stack alert firing off up here and overextended. We didn't establish many supports on the way up, which is why we can drop so hard and fast on the way down. We did see first hourly oversold conditions get hit, which is our back burner trade, and we ended up dipping fairly low. So I changed my RSI here from close. I go to settings. I'm going to have to reload the chart, which I don't want to do, but if I wanted to see exactly what RSI level it hit at the low of that candle, I can change the settings here and change it from close to low, and we would see that that RSI did dip down into the mid-20s, and then we bounced from 420 up to 448, so a solid little 5-6% bounce, but a lack of follow-through. So the hourly RSI is still pretty low. The 4-hour RSI on ETH is not close to oversold, and at this point, what the bulls are hoping for is, looking at it on the 12-hour chart, is a significant bull move, a significant pullback, and then we'll be looking for the potential of this 12-hour time frame to shape up into an equilibrium if we can get bounce follow-through. Now, that doesn't mean we can't see further downside before we find that higher low, because anything above 371 is a higher low. I am playing the ETH bounce. I entered this morning on some positions. I was a little bit too aggressive because ETH has been so strong recently. I made my initial entry before hourly oversold conditions, which in the end obviously hurt me. I made one scale in at 445s, and then I entered 2 more positions in the 420s once that hourly RSI did get nice and oversold. And then being protective, I always like to scale out when I'm in either short-term profit or back to break even, because that allows for a lot more comfort for me. The last thing I want to do is be in a full position and then we keep dropping, because that means I'm out of ammo and I'm out of control of that trade. Have to have capital ready for further downside in case these RSI levels get extreme. We've seen it before in the cryptocurrency space. There's nothing saying that the hourly RSI can't drop down to 15. So what I did was, on the 2-minute bounce, I was just looking for a 2-minute lower high, so I was scaling out a little bit. I exited a little bit at break even, which was the upper 430s, exited a little bit more, and at the moment, I am left with a third of a position. So I scaled in 3 positions, I scaled out 2 positions, I've got 1 left, and it's giving me a break even at about 430 or so, roughly speaking. I'm going to have to do some math and figure out exactly what that number is, but what that does now is I have an average of 430. I'm at right around break even. It's a small position, a third position, and that gives me the free cash where if we do see another leg down, that Bitcoin hourly RSI is going to be crushed at that point, and the ETH hourly RSI will be dropping back down towards the low 20s and potential teens, and I'll use those 2 positions that I sold and that cash that I got back for more entries, looking at the 12-hour time frame as a guide. So maybe I enter 1 more if we keep dropping down with another leg. Maybe I enter 1 more at 415 and another one at 405. And again, that keeps me in control of the trade, just knowing that in extreme RSI conditions, in extreme sell-off conditions, I have more capital to allocate, whereas if I did not scale out on that short-term bounce, I wouldn't have that cash, and I would be sitting right now slightly red and feeling a bit helpless in that trade. So I always want to have control, and that's why I often scale out very quickly on those initial bounces. So for the ETH bounce, I would just be looking at, next time we get any follow through here, just an hourly lower high. We haven't even broken the pattern of a lower high every hourly candle on this drop, so we don't look for a clear pivot of a lower high being set until that pattern breaks. So the bears still have some pretty firm control of this pullback, and it is entirely possible that we see a 2-hour bear flag and a lower low under 11,100 on Bitcoin, which would have us see 4-hour oversold conditions. We would follow through with a loss of the daily uptrend. We would lose our base of support, and 10,546 would be the next level that we look to. So again, my game plan is If we hold support and we start a bounce, I would be looking to exit this bounce, ideally on a 4-hour lower high, perhaps around 450s or so. And if we drop down and see another leg down, then that's going to completely trade the game plan. But if the support level holds, I will be exiting on a 4-hour lower high to lock in just a small win. Again, it's a small position. It's not like I'm going aggressive here and loading the boat, because a clear shift in momentum has gone on over the past couple days. And Bitcoin is giving us one of its most bearish days. It's had a few of these mixed in, but it is one of the more bearish days that we've seen in the last few weeks. And again, I'm always cautious in the metals and in crypto, because I know over the last 12 years, it would not be surprising for the dollar to bounce from this weekly RSI level. ETH BTC is pulling back with Bitcoin. 4-hour time frame. Again, straight shot up, looking for a higher low. Is the bounce going any better than ETH? It's not. So we've got a lower low already being hit. And we have to see that change if ETH bulls are going to see some nice bounce follow through. Anything under 3917 is just an hourly lower high. That being said, for both ETH and ETH BTC, we have tons of space for a daily higher low. It's just the size of the pullback is big enough that we're anticipating our high of this move is set for the short-term future. So anything above 371.50 is a daily higher low. Tons of space to work with, but because of the size of the pullback, we're not looking for, a bounce into continuation. We're looking for tightening ranges to develop, and that's why I like the 12-hour time frame for clarity, because that tightening range after that kind of volatility is the most likely scenario. So just patiently watching for where that 12-hour higher low is going to form. And the ETH BTC 12-hour time frame is the same thing. We're looking for that higher low, plenty of space to form it, and then we're going to look for a 12-hour lower high once it gets set. BNB USDT has been standing out as one of the stronger altcoins, just in the sense that it too, like ETH, confirmed its weekly bull flag. And it was actually an interesting scenario where we had a daily bull flag trying to confirm a weekly bull flag. We got it yesterday with big follow through. Today has given some wild volatility in both directions. We had the bull break straight into a bear break thanks to Bitcoin correlation, and then a very solid bounce, 23.12 up to 24.86. That's about a 6% bounce or so. And you can see it's a much different looking bounce than what Bitcoin is seeing right now. And if we just pull up the 2-hour time frame, Bitcoin looks like a potential bear flag, and this bounce is significant enough that it is not likely a bear flag. And that all has to do with the percentage retracement that we've seen on the bounce. That being said, this kind of volume looks like temporary climax volume. It's an indecision candle, so we have to be cautious of a temporary top being set, but bigger picture, it's a clear weekly uptrend. Bitcoin, if we were at the same spot as Bitcoin right now, we would be close to breaking 2098 support. And obviously we're a solid 17% above that level right now. And we're looking up at 2719 is the most important resistance from here. So we'll see if the stronger altcoin names are able to stay strong in daily and weekly uptrends. And BNB is one of those names. Link. So Link is a very nice weekly, look how many weekly inside bars we have. Declining volume, just tighter, tighter, tighter. And if we don't get a break this week, we're certainly going to be looking for a break next week. Let's see, we've got 4 more trading days to go. So it's possible to see a break. Aggressive bulls are making a play off of support of 1350, hoping that we stay with these weekly inside bars. If we break 1350, weekly consolidation will be clearly underway. 1284, and then the weekly 12 period of exponential support will be the next 2 levels that we look at. So I look at the 4-hour RSI. Whenever I'm playing off a support level, I want things to be as beat up as possible. So we were heading towards 1350. We dropped down to 1407. The hourly RSI was crushed. The 4-hour RSI was getting just towards oversold conditions. Again, size of the pullback is significant enough that we will just be looking for a 4-hour lower high on this bounce, but there is a support level to potentially be playing off of. Just like Bitcoin has a support level to potentially be playing off of as well. The next thing I'm very curious to be watching for is if the dollar loses the hourly uptrend from here, does that lead to Bitcoin bounce follow through? So I'm going to be watching the timing. Do the Bitcoin bulls negate the potential bear flag because the dollar loses the hourly uptrend? That's not the case at this point, but it's something I'm keeping an eye out for. So checking in on Chart Guys chat room, we've got SRM USDT as a request. That's a bounce. So the 4-hour time frame was still in an uptrend, pretty much 262 or 263 support, big breakout to a higher high, up to 380. And then on this pullback, I guess you could say we had a little weak bounce attempt that did drop to a lower low. But either way, it's a very significant bounce off of the low of 275, and it's keeping the bulls in control overall. You can see the hourly time frame, the bulls just showed up in a big way with volume. So the bulls are attempting to change this hourly trend back in their favor. Hourly higher low trying to form at 333, and we need a break of 367 to confirm the hourly trend change. If that were to take place just like that, we're back at the high of that move. So the daily uptrend is easily intact at this point, and that is one of the more impressive bounces that we've seen on the day today. ETC USD. Haven't looked at this coin in forever, for good reason. So the weekly time frame set a higher low at 651. We failed to break resistance, and then we dropped down and broke 651. Granted, it hasn't been a lot of bear follow through, but that's a fairly convincing loss of the weekly uptrend. And the bears are in complete control. If 644 breaks, that's really the only support to be going off of. Look at the upper wicks here. The upper wicks are showing us a lot of profit taking, bears jumping on any moves, and after 644, we're looking down at 621 as the next level. So bulls have not really been showing much over the last, really since we topped out on August 18th. Really not much impressive from the bulls, and these bounces are quickly being sold into. Sushi, USDT. So Sushi looking a bit like a pump and dump, at least on Binance. Gave it all back. And I actually want to look at it on a different exchange. Yeah, so very similar. Gave it all back. So bottom fishing that low is the only play here. And if 556 were to break, obviously that is a major red flag. It's already a red flag to give back this much of a move. It's 608 on Binance, so you need to be paying attention. And we actually already broke that level on Binance. So it depends on which exchange you are looking at, but an attempt to hold the support, same thing. We're just looking for a 4-hour lower high on this bounce. Hourly time frame resistance is approaching 718. And we have a low, high of the bounce, 718, a double bottom or a little higher low, and now it's all about 718. If we reject, it's a nice equilibrium to be watching. Here it is on the half-hour time frame. I love these exponential moving averages because you can see on a time frame like this on the 30-minute, you can say, all right, we got a bunch of rejections from this resistance, and now we're seeing it get over that resistance level for the first time. So we can note that there's a bit of a shift going on. And if we break 718, it'll be a lot more clear. But a half-hour equilibrium if 718 resistance rejects the price. And the bulls would want to see increasing bull volume here to have a chance to break 718. In the absence of increasing bull volume, we will just look for a lower high and tightening range. OMG. So OMG is in a daily downtrend. High, low, lower high, little lower low, another lower high, more convincing lower low, which means weekly consolidation very clearly underway. Again, there's a lack of support. These names that run up this hard pull back a lot faster. And we're now looking down at 4 psychological, and then 325 as the next level. Hourly time frame, what's this bounce looking like? It's similar to Bitcoin in the sense that it's not convincing at this point. We have a lower high every hourly candle, just like ETH. If that pattern breaks, we watch hourly 12-period exponential resistance, and we just look for a lower high to be set on that bounce. We are looking for a weekly higher low, but with a lack of support anywhere nearby, bulls are going to patiently wait for some kind of daily trend change setup to show itself before looking to get aggressive on searching for that weekly higher low. Again, have to be cautious of the names that pump as a flavor of the week. And again, not speaking to the long-term fundamentals of OMG or anything like that, but we can clearly say it was the flavor of the week pump now that we pulled back 60% from that high. And we have to be cautious of everybody just moving on to the next one. Whether it's YFI, whether it's sushi, whatever it is, we always have to be cautious of trying to play bounces on names that have clearly set their temporary top. I look at this chart and I say, the likelihood that OMG is going to break $10, and I know on some exchanges it wasn't up to $10, Coinbase was fairly thinly traded, but the odds that we're going to hit that high anytime in the near-term future are not high at all. So we have to keep that in mind because traders will jump around and take advantage of hype and breakouts and thinly traded action and a little bit of dollar volume going a long way, and then they're no longer interested in it anymore. And the last thing you want to be doing is trying to buy the dip on a coin that has lost its flavor. XTZ USD. So XTZ is still struggling to set a weekly high or low. We've been consolidating for many weeks. And again, we are looking for a weekly lower high to be the most likely scenario next time we do bounce. Key support is 265. The low of today dropped down to 294. And we're just in a daily downtrend. And a little bit of a brutal fake out here because we finally changed this daily trend bullish yesterday. And that increased the odds. Is that our weekly high or low being set? And then, of course, Bitcoin dragging it back down, making it look like a fake out. So it's worth watching for the weekly high or low, but pretty much the work that the bulls were putting in over the last week has just been erased thanks to Bitcoin weakness. So key resistance on the daily will be 352, and we're just going to look for a 4-hour lower high next time we bounce. Very similar setup to what Bitcoin is currently seeing on this bounce attempt. So pretty brutal setback. We're looking for a weekly high or low, but there is no sign that it has been set at this point. All right, I got to get ready for live streaming stocks here at the end of the day, as I normally do Monday through Wednesday. So going to keep it brief. One more check-in on Bitcoin, trying to get to the high of the bounce here. And again, the last thing the bulls want to see is breaking to the high of the bounce with a lack of bull volume and a lack of follow-through, because that is a trademark of a bear flag. It's bull breaks on a shorter term time frame with no bull volume and no follow-through. So again, need to get up at or above this hourly 12-period exponential resistance if we are going to be looking to negate this bear flag. Be protective on these bounces. Eventually, we'll be looking for 4-hour lower highs once the bounces do get some notable follow-through, but we're not confident that the bottoms have been set just yet. The bulls would be a lot more comfortable if the dollar can fail to break 92.87 and drop down and break 92.70 to lose the hourly uptrend, and then zoom out and look for a 4-hour high or low. That's best case scenario for the crypto bulls looking for some bounce follow through. And the quickest way to help the dollar with weakness, go outside, take all your cash, and just burn it. And you should see it start to drop. Appreciate you all tuning in. And I will see you all in the near-term future. Let's see how this bounce plays out. Protect your positions. See you soon, and do good things.